Thinking. Hi, I'm Tootie Tagerly, and I'm here with.
Aloha, this is Jim Herman from Honolulu. How's everybody?
Hope you all doing well. Today, I'm super excited because we're going to go through 5 unexpected, surprising workplace powers to share them with you and help you learn how to unlock them.
It's great, exactly. This is something that I've used for decades to help me better understand where I stand in an organization and how to get things done. And I'm really happy to be sharing it with you today, Tootie, and your listeners.
That's awesome. Should we walk through them?
Sure. Let me take the easy one because I love easy things, right? And the one that we most are familiar with is position power. You're the boss and you get to decide things. And you have the title, you have the authority. And the problem with that is that too often we think that's the only one, right? And that especially if we're a subordinate or if we're pretty low ranking in an organization, we give up all of our other powers and just focus on position power. And so this whole talk, which really comes from something that Ken Blanchard wrote decades ago and can be found elsewhere, but it's a perfect way to begin to think of expanding your sense of power in an organization.
Jim and I teach a class called Leading from Any Position, and that says that, yes, most people I work with, a lot of emerging leaders think that, all right, for me to really have power and impact and influence and scale my work in an organization, I need that manager title. I need that positional power to get the traits that and the responsibilities that I want. But the reality is when I work with a lot of clients, I'll be like, okay, what is it about that positional title? What is it about that manager title that you want? Is it the mentorship? Is it the fact that you get to maybe do less hands-on work and guide other people in their work? Focus on those things. And what you can do is you can start doing those things before you actually have the title. But we're not going to spend too long on this one, right? Because this is the one that most people think of.
Yeah, and I love that. And it's largely as well that it so limits you and it also limits bosses. If you're a boss and you just think about positional power, you're not using all the skills that your team brings to bear.
Yeah. And also, when I was a first-time boss, my management style was command and control. It's like, look at me.
I can see that in you, Tootie.
Of course you can, Jim. Of course. So that's the danger, right?
Right, exactly.
This is not a great way as a boss to be like, hey, listen to me because I have the title and you better do what I tell you to do.
Great. And so one of the next ones that people miss all the time is knowledge power. So often it's the operational people who actually know what's going on. And bringing up your knowledge power to any situation can trump position power. It gives you a lot of skills to add value to what's going on.
Yeah. One of my clients runs operations for a pretty large retail kind of sexy product that is endorsed by a lot of celebrities. So in her organization, it's all about, oh, who are the celebrities? What is the marketing? What is the creative about it? But guess what? It's a retail operation. She knows what it takes to get the actual product logistics lines from where it's manufactured in Asia to the actual warehouses to be delivered to be in the store. She has the most power of anyone in the company.
Yeah, that is such a great example. And too often we don't pay enough attention to it. And you lose somebody like that and you're in desperate state. Or the person who has that skill doesn't step up and say, look, we can get better because I know all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. And usually what I find with people who have this power of knowledge is that they can get resentful. They can feel not recognized, unappreciated. And what I work on with them is really the power of storytelling. How do you tell the story of the really cool knowledge that you have in a way that's interesting to other people? That's a way to leverage this power.
Right. And help people become aware that it's important in what they're doing.
Yeah.
So the next one is task power. And task power is all about what position you have in a task, right? If you've been asked to do something, are you the task manager? Are you the communication person? So you're bringing a skill and a power to that task, and understanding that task is very different from the position power you hold in the organization.
So is this about the fact that, let's say if I channel someone, I'm an engineer. I have started my job. I write the code. I'm going to go in and write the code and commit the diffs and do everything. What is my task power in here?
Well, so you clearly have the knowledge power. And
Okay.
the task power would depend on what role you have in that project.
Okay.
So if you're the developer, that is a very specific task that you have a lot of knowledge power as well, but that is also critical to the success of whatever you're developing, right? That you're the key person in that sense. And recognizing how much power you have in that can be used for good or evil, right?
Well, I guess if I'm a developer, the product's not shipping without
Right, exactly. And people know that, but saying it out loud and recognizing it helps put that power dynamic in a different role. I have another example. When I was in India, we were rolling out this multi-million-dollar new product that was being forced on us from Maine State, the State Department. And I selected one of the lowest ranking people in my organization, 355 people, because she had experience as a project manager. And I elevated her to the task manager. So she had incredible knowledge power. She had no position power. She was like at the very bottom of the organization chart. And all of a sudden, she was the boss in this task, leading really much more people that had a lot more position power. But she was awesome. Everything was perfect. I was a genius for selecting her, of course, but she was great in that task, using that task power.
Okay, so let me see if I understand it. She didn't have a title. Like she was, maybe one of the most junior members.
She was an operator. Yep.
She was an operator. But so you essentially made her like the project lead, the main point person for
exactly.
that. So that's not positional power because she didn't have a title, but it's
so that's
task that she was given. Okay.
And then I gave her some of my position power because everybody knew that I chose her and she was speaking directly to me.
And that, I think, is the lesson tied back to what I was talking about with positional power. You might not have the title, but you can sign up to do the tasks, whether it's mentoring other people or working with an intern.
And it brings you to the attention of people at the top of the organization. I mean, she was like 7 layers down from where I was. And all of a sudden, she was dealing with me on a weekly basis. And she was tough. She knew what she was doing. And she said, Jim, I'll do this for you only if you do X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay, all yours.
Gotta do it. That makes sense.
She was great.
That helps me jump between them and understand them better.
Exactly. Great. And the next one is relationship. It's something that we're all aware of, right? That the network that we have is important, but we don't recognize what a powerful tool this is in our relationship. I was saying earlier that for me, if I have a boss who can't pick up a phone and fix a problem for me, I don't want to work for that boss, right? If they don't have the relationship power to reach out across the organization, to reach out across customer bases, this power is so critically important. And if you have it and you're working for me, man, I am going to leverage that every chance I get.
That's interesting because I think you're equating a little bit. Relationship power is the network of people that you might have.
Right.
Is another way of thinking about it, maybe that it's about the trust that you build with the people around you, whether it's upwards, sideways. Ooh, I have a little box. Sideways.
Yes.
You manage.
Yeah, that's such a great insight, Tudy. Thank you. And in an example I gave earlier, our relationship, we didn't have much of a relationship, but she knew from people who knew me that if I said I was going to do something, she could trust me. And that sealed the deal for her, right? That, okay, Jim's going to have my back and I can do what I need to do to get here. And so even my relationship with her was really important.
Got it. Relationship and trust. These are the things that you build all around. Makes total sense.
Great. And then the last one is personal power. And this links directly to the course we teach, the leadership, leading from any position, because it is all about me. That's why I love this book, Self-Leadership and the 1 Minute Manager as well, because it focuses everything back to yourself. Who are you when you show up to things? Do you have the emotional intelligence? Do you have the patience? Do you have the listening skills? Do you have the leadership skills to motivate others? And this power, I mean, is such, and the good thing about this is this can grow. And this is what the course we do focuses on.
Well, your personal power is your leadership. People talk a lot about what is leadership presence? How do I have a leadership style? And a large part of it, we believe, starts from the inside out, which is knowing who you are, knowing what your strengths are, knowing what you need to work on, where you want to grow, and then knowing what matters to you and what it is that you want to learn or do or become in the context of this particular job. With every conflict or problem. Sorry, Jim, I cut you off. Go.
No, and I was going to say, and this just to me, this ties everything together, right? So if you have this personal power, when you show up, you're self-aware enough to know, what is my positional power here? What is my knowledge power, task power, relationship power? And what am I bringing to this situation? It's really important. And this is the foundation, I believe, for all the other stuff. And part of the problem is lots of people get promoted to position power because they have knowledge power, because they have some task power, and they suck at managers. I can use that word, right? Suck at managers, because they don't leverage these other skills. If you're relying only on positional power, man, I do not want to work for you.
That makes sense. I'm actually typing them all down out so we can see them.
Okay, great.
That seems like a good thing to do.
Great. And so it's, to me, I love this because it's simple and it's something you can ponder before you go into meeting, before you take jobs. If you're given a new task, understanding where this is, understanding the value you bring to any situation. And this is true at home as well, you know, in your personal relationships.
So if you want to learn more, join us. We have a group coaching program called Leading from Any Position that teaches you the skills of all these 5 different powers, that teaches you tools such as listening skills, and really builds that sense of personal power.
Exactly. Thank you, Titi. This was so much fun.
This is so much fun. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Great. Mahalo, everybody.
Bye, then.